Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on February the 27th, 2020. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. And in terms of the overall market here, we see the data that has come out for New Zealand and Australia has been below expectations, and we have seen a negative impact from that. But overall, in the markets today, the big thing was around coronavirus. So there are reports of coronavirus now starting to spread around the world. There have been cases in Italy, South Korea, Iran, Canada, US, Norway, Brazil. So with all of that going on, the markets have been very spooky, and we are into the risk off mode at the moment. But keep an eye on the markets because things can change fairly rapidly. All right, so let's take a look at what's coming up on Thursday here. Not a ton of red data here, actually nothing. We do have current account numbers here for Canada. And current account numbers are important because they take a look at how much exports we did versus imports. So if this number is below expectations, we can see Canadian dollar drop. Canadian dollar did get hit really badly today because of oil dropping a fair bit. So if the numbers here are below expectations, we can see Canadian dollar drop even further. And then for the US here, we have core durable goods orders. Same thing here. If the data is below expectations, we could see US dollar drop. Now, having said that, there is another theme that is going on now. Everybody is expecting Fed to cut rates this year because of the concerns around the coronavirus and its impact on the economy. So if we hear more talk about Fed cutting rates, then that will be negative for the US dollar and it will be positive for stock markets. So that's something to watch out for. And then in the evening here, we have consumer confidence numbers. Consumer confidence numbers are important. We saw with the US where the consumer confidence numbers came in below expectations, and we saw US dollar drop. And same thing here for the British pound as well. If they come in below expectations, we could see it drop. And actually, this one here, CPI numbers and industrial production numbers here, these numbers will be important for Japanese yen, even though they are not marked as red, because we have seen negative numbers come out of Japan. And the concern is that the taxes are basically they're having a negative impact on the economy. So if these numbers come below expectations as well, we're likely to see Japanese yen take a further hit. So just something to be aware of. And that's it for tomorrow. So let's take a look at our charts here. We'll start off with euro dollar as usual. So with the euro here, we did see price go up today, but the candle close for the day is a neutral candle close. So what I'm looking for with euro dollar would be how it reacts to this resistance level. So today we saw that price went and tested the resistance, but wasn't able to go through, and it had dropped. So if we see similar behavior here, so right now price is pushing into the resistance here, and if price holds below 1.0900, then we could see price drop back down. On the flip side though, if market starts to expect Fed to cut rates, because President Trump just did a speech not too long ago, and he again mentioned that Fed should cut rates. So that if that happens, then US dollar will suffer, and we'll see all the dollar crosses go up. So we'll have to see how the market is taking those comments. If it holds below 1.09 though, I will look for it to drop. However, if it goes through, there is plenty of room to the upside. Then 1.0930 and then we have 1.0980. Those would be the levels that we'll have to watch. But for now, bias is neutral for euro dollar, and I will watch this 1.09 level. So should it hold below that level, then I'm looking for price to come back into 1.0850 and basically resume this trend to the downside. So we have had a bearish pullback, and then I would expect it to resume. However, if it does go through this support resistance level, then it could go all the way there. So bias is neutral for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, we saw that price was into resistance here, wasn't able to go through the resistance, and a big drop here in British pound. So with that, now we have a bearish engulfing candle close. Now do keep in mind, we're right into that support level where price has trouble or has had trouble the last 2 times, and it wasn't able to go below that, and it turned around. But for now, bias is bearish, so watch the 1.2880 level. If it doesn't go through, it can go back up, but my bias is bearish. We could get a pullback into 1.2950 potentially, and then I am looking for a drop here. So bearish bias, again, we'll have to see price go through 1.2880, and then the next target here is 1.2820, and then 1.2770. So bias is bearish for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, Aussie was finally able to break that support, and we have seen a big drop in Australian dollar. So looking for price to continue now that it's past that. Watch out for a bit of a pullback here. We could get a pullback into 0.6580, and then I will look for a further move to the downside. First target is 0.6520, and second target is 0.6450. So bias is bearish for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, we did see a break below the support that it has been struggling with for 3-4 days here. So bias here is bearish, nice bearish break there. So now looking for a continuation here, potential pullback into 0.6300, and then looking for a continuation move to the downside here. So the first target is 0.6270, and then 0.6250. Bias is bearish for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, Canadian dollar did not do so well today because of the problems with oil. Oil was dropping, and as a result, we have seen dollar CAD go up because Canadian dollar was weak. So big move to the upside. Now, right now, price is into resistance, and as we can see, this support resistance level has been very important. Price has struggled and has not been able to go through that resistance level. So at this point, bias is bearish, bias is neutral, but we could get a bearish move here. So watch out for that. I would look at this 1.3350 level. If it holds below, then I would look for a drop. And we could see US dollar overall drop because of the market expectations around Fed cutting rates. So that's something very important for us to keep an eye on. But right now for dollar CAD, bias is neutral just because price is into resistance here. So if it holds below 1.3350, I'm looking for a drop. First target would be 1.3300, and then 1.3280. Bias is neutral for dollar CAD. Gold here. Gold has gone both ways today. We saw price drop and then went up. And at this point, it is neutral. It's holding, still holding above, silver, my apologies. It's still holding above 17.85 here. And as long as it holds above that level, we could see price go back into 18.20. But as soon as it drops through here, now we have more room to the downside. So my bias here is neutral for silver, and I'm going to watch this 17.85 level, and then we will see which direction it wants to go in. So for now, bias is neutral for silver, but if it breaks through, we have two levels to the downside here. Gold here. Gold has again gone back and forth as well, just like silver. It is still maintaining its kind of hold above 1625. Bias is neutral here, but it could go back up, especially if there is another risk off day, which means if the stock markets are dropping, then I will look for gold to potentially go up. First target is 1655 and then 1670 as the second target for gold, but it is neutral to bullish for now. Oil had a drop, big drop. This is the range it had been trading in for all this time, and now it's gone through that support level. So bias is still bearish here, and targets, let's take a look here. We are into these levels that we haven't been for quite some time, and it is causing concern in the market. Okay, so the next targets here for oil would be 48. We are almost there. So 46.80 and then 45. Let's say 45.80. So bias is bearish for oil. Copper here, copper still struggling with that level, this level that we have been watching at 2.51. Tried to go through it, but we have a neutral candle close. So with this one, this support level is still important. If it holds above 2.51, I will look for it to go back, potentially all the way into the high. But before then, next target would be 2.55 approximately. So bias here is neutral for copper, but if it drops through this level, then of course we do have the lower levels. There is plenty of room to the downside here, but like I said, it's just holding above this 2.51 level. So keep an eye on that level. Bias is neutral for copper. Bitcoin is dropping a fair bit here, big drop right through our targets here, and now still a bearish bias here, 84.40, which is very close, and then we're looking at 81.60. So bias is bearish here for Bitcoin. S&P 500, a huge drop here, as we can see for the last few days. It's just been a one-way street here for S&P 500. Still a bearish bias here, even though it went and tested this previous support resistance level. It dropped from there. Now, bias is bearish. I would still be cautious though, because if we start hearing from Fed saying that they are going to have a looser monetary policy or cut rates, then we could see a turn in the equity market. So watch out for that, but bias is bearish, and it's almost into our first target here of 30.80. Next target is 30.20 here. So then this is a very important support resistance level, and this is where we could see price turn around. So bias is bearish for S&P 500. Nasdaq here, this one is also looking bearish. It went and tested all the way into 1920, but it is holding below that level. So bias is bearish. Next target is 86.50, and then we have 84.80. So bearish bias here for Nasdaq as well. And then Dow Jones, big drop here, still looking bearish. It's again into the first target here at 26,680. That will be the first target for today. And then the second target is 26,350. So bias is bearish for Dow Jones here. And then we have DAX here, still looking bearish. It came right into our second target, and still bearish bias here. Next target is 12,120. So bearish is bias is bearish for DAX here. Footsie closed with a neutral candle here, which means it could go in either direction, but the level that I would watch out for would be a 7,000 level, or even all the way into this resistance level at 70.40. If it holds below this level, I would look for another leg to the downside. But like I said, again, if we start to hear from central bankers, so Bank of England here for Footsie, if they talk about doing any kind of providing more liquidity to the market or cutting rates or anything like that, this will turn around the market. So it's very important to watch out for that. And then last but not least, we have Nikkei. Let's go to the daily chart here. It's still trading in that range, but overall bias still is to the downside. It's holding below the support resistance level that we had talked about. So bias is bearish. First target, 21,880. Then second target, 21,650. So bearish bias here for Nikkei as well. All right, so right now, with everything going on in the market, safe haven assets and stocks are very much at the forefront. If we see a turnaround, so whether we start hearing more about central bankers providing support to the stock market, or we are cutting rates, or we hear some positive news in regards to coronavirus, that will send them out, that will turn everything around. So we will see safe havens fall and we will see stock markets go up. So just keep an eye on what's going on in terms of news. All right, so that's it for today. Have a wonderful trading day and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.